Welcome to the math portion of your NLN preparation course. My name is Stephen Cooper. I can be reached at the email address shown there, scooper2@clcillinois.edu. I've taught this class before, so I'm looking forward to it, although this is going to be a little bit strange with the coronavirus pandemic going on. I'm basically going to record a series of lectures on the material. I wish we could be together in person. I truly enjoy teaching and being in front of the class at the marker board. I'm very much an old school teacher. I only write on the board with no other, visual aids or projections or technology. So even what I'm doing right now, I'm sitting at a desk with a document camera, and I know the sound quality is not great, but it's the microphone on the camera, and I don't have a better one that I can use. But even this is pretty high tech for me. So I'm very much old school, so I wish we could be together in a traditional classroom setting. But it's just the way it is. So I plan on recording several videos. I'm going to just label them in chronological order. I don't want any one video to get too long, primarily for storage capacity on my computer and uploading to YouTube and things like that, but also so they're not so tedious to watch. But we are going to cover a host of topics, what I would have otherwise covered in class. Some of the activities we would have done together, we won't be doing those, but you'll have to do some of that stuff on your own, but I will still cover everything in these videos that I otherwise would have covered at the board. So I just want to review kind of the topics. When I was first preparing for this course the first time, I was worried that I didn't have enough time. 12 hours together is not much time to basically do a crash course in algebra. And everything we talk about here is going to be, you could argue it's pre-algebra, not much of it is pre-algebra, but the rest would be pretty much beginning algebra, a little bit of geometry, and you could argue there's a little bit of intermediate level algebra in there as well, but that's it. If you're just getting out of high school, you may have had even calculus in high school, and we're not going to go anywhere near that level of math here. Okay, so rest assured, it should just be a nice, good review for you. I don't think anything I talk about you'll be seeing for the first time. If you are, that's okay. It's not a deal breaker, but you just may have to focus a little more on the material than others. I am sitting in a little basement bunker at my house. Again, this is very high-tech for me, even though it's very low-tech with a document camera, but I apologize if there's any kind of background noise, as I have 6 kids running around who are not in school, and they don't always keep it quiet. So let's talk about what we're going to do here, and this is, again, what I had done the previous time I taught this course. I have it broken out by nights, but in our case, it'll just be a bunch of videos. I opened up the course with a pretest, okay, and I know that killed 45 minutes of time, but I thought it was beneficial for students to see how well you're doing, so I had a nice little practice test that came with a study guide that I was using, and we spent 45 minutes having the students run through that test, and then just to see how you were doing. And then we moved into the material here, and you can see kind of some topics here: place values, rounding, averages, fractions and mixed numbers, decimals, percents, some basic rules of algebra, how to add, subtract, and multiply and divide, what we call real numbers, and it's real easy until you get to the negatives, and you might have to stop and think a little bit. Our second night of class, we talked about exponents and roots, order of operations, evaluating expressions, polynomials, addition, subtraction, multiply, and divide polynomials, negative exponents, this thing called scientific notation, we'll talk about that, factoring polynomials, now there's a topic that probably is not foremost on your mind, and then simplifying rational expressions. We knocked all that out on the second night of class. Third and fourth night, finally we started solving linear equations on our third night, and talked about formulas, percents, proportions, linear inequalities. We talked a little bit about quadratics and higher polynomial equations like cubics, just the basics, just the most straightforward way to solve those types of equations. The Pythagorean theorem, a classic theorem from geometry discussing right triangles, and then also systems of linear equations on that third night. The fourth night, you see I kind of whited out something I had there. What I did the fourth night is we didn't have a whole lot of new material to go through. We had some geometry stuff we went through and the metric system and then conversion of units. And then we had plenty of time left on that fourth night. Actually, we ran over about 20 minutes, but we still had plenty of time left over, in my opinion, to take another one of those tests. So I had given a test on the very first, opening night. I gave a test, and then about halfway through our fourth night, I gave another test, and then we went over that test together. So I think it was really beneficial, and I suppose we can probably do that much at least here. We can certainly go over it together. I'll just sit here and write it, and you can follow along. Okay, so that's what I have in mind for this course. That's all the topics and then some that you may see. I did notice on the practice tests that came in the book that there were 4 of them in the book, and not every practice test had all of this material that I just ran through, like the factoring polynomials, for example. I think that showed up on 2 out of the 4 exams. So I don't know whether or not you'll actually have to have it or not, have to have that knowledge or not on the real exam, but we will cover it just in case. Alright, so that's that. I will start making some videos. Thank you.